Hey Facebook fam. Hey fam. This morning God put something on my heart to go live about. I wanted to talk about feast or famine. I'm not going to wait till everybody comes on because I know you guys are at work. I got a lot to do today. But anyway, I wanted to talk about feast or famine. As you know, I have two businesses. I am a realtor and I also own a travel agency. So something I had to learn is that in business, whether you have a 9-to-5 job or you're an entrepreneur, there will be feast or famine. My hair looks something today. There will be feast or famine. Guaranteed. I mean, always. There will be feast or famine. Look at the areas of your life, regardless if you had a job or not, or a business owner. There are periods where my definition of feast or famine is feast is when God opens the door and your income comes in and you get extra things that come to you, money and abundance, and it's a season of replenishing. It's a season of, you're receiving. Then famine is the opposite, of course. It's when the door is closed. And I look at it as a season of learning, a season of, sorry, I got a phone call. It's a season of learning and growing, but it's also a season of planning, and it's a season, basically the door is closed to money coming in. So what I've done is when I'm in a season of famine, I travel, I move, I upgrade my life, I buy new clothes, I do a lot of things. And then what I'm doing is creating a lot of bills for myself. What I'm not doing is saving in a time of feast. Then when a season of famine comes, then you think you did something wrong, or that that here my famous thing is I'm back in this situation again. So it's not a season to beat yourself up. I just believe that God has closed the door on some things, on your income or on the abundance. And now is the time to learn. It's the time to plan. It's the time to, that's what famine is. Pray and have faith and trust God. It's a test of our faith. So what I wanted to share, what God put on my heart, that is my definition of feast and famine. And like trial and error or different things. So in my famine seasons is when I learn the most. So when feast comes, my number one goal, because I'm getting ready to enter into a season of feasting. I'm excited. But this past season of famine, I have learned a lot. I hired a budget person. I've come up with a plan. The money wasn't there to execute a lot of the things that we went over. I am with Edward Jones. I've been with them with an IRA since 2011, even when I didn't have anything to put in there. And even that has gone up and down. So during this feast season, I have a plan in place. I've worked with counsel. I've got seek wise counsel, and we have a plan in place, and I have to execute that plan. Second thing, that's the number one goal, is to save, is to prepare for the famine, because it will come. Famine will come. So during your feast, you continue to work because God has opened that door for you. that money is coming in, that abundance is coming in. You're flourishing. So I'm not saying don't travel. I'm not saying don't enjoy the fruits of your labor, of course. But work, continue to make more and save. And while that door is open, then when famine, and my number two goal during the feast season, number one is to save. Number two is to, well, I wrote it down. So I have 3 goals. You know, number 3, I'll get back to number 2 as soon as I remember what it is. But number 3 is to, my number 3 goal is to pay off my debts that I created during famine, because I didn't have the money to live the lifestyle I created during the last feast. You know, so I went through a year and a half of abundance just coming in, and you know, and situations in your life change. I have people very close to me, 3 ladies that are very close to me. They're relatives of mine, and all 3 of them are getting ready to go through a major life change. And as I wrote down, in 2010 to 2011, I went through a divorce. And so I went to famine because we went from 2 incomes to 1. There were emotional things. You know, I had a teenage son to raise. I had a 21-year-old in college figuring out her life. That was a time of famine for me. I mean, yeah. And so divorce, things like your health. Someone close to me is having to leave the workforce to focus on their health, but still need to have income. So right now they're in a feast, and they need to prepare for this. They need to prepare because the famine is going to come for them, for all of us. You know, there's breakups, there's different things that happen in your life that made your life change. If you are prepared in advance, when you're in a feasting season, you need to prepare for your life changes. Last year, I was in a feast last year, 2016 to 2017. Then I had a death that affected me emotionally. I was in a car accident right behind that. I had a breakup. So emotionally, I was drained. I was down, and it affected my income, and it put me into a famine big time. But during my feasting season, there were things. I bought clothes, so I was okay as far as clothes, and I was okay as far as there are things that I did set aside. I did have money saved up, but I didn't have enough to cover me. I went 9 months without a closing. So I had to do Lyft. I had to do different things to make ends meet. But in the process, I lost some things. You know, I had to move out of my apartment that I loved. So during this feast season, my goal is to save up, starting with 4 to 6 months of my expenses. You have to determine what is your lifestyle? What is your expenses to live your certain lifestyle? I like to travel, but I don't need to travel every month and like I was. But I racked up some Southwest points during my feast, you know. So during the famine season, I was able to go see my daughter. I was able to travel. And so I just want to go over some things. You know, situations in your life change, and you just have to prepare yourself during the feast. Make that money while that door is open, while God has that open for you, opportunities, take advantage of it and go. Hustle, make that money. Set aside 4 to 6 months, if you can, up to a year of your expenses. So when that famine comes, or your life changes, or something happens with your children or a parent or yourself, and if you're single like me and you rely only on yourself, something happens to you, you need to have that backup plan. You need to have that money saved up. I'm turning 50 this year. A lot of us are turning 50, have turned 50, close to it. We're midlife. Generation X, we are middle age. We look good, right? But we're middle age, you know, and so we have a good decade worth of work left if some of us can retire sooner. But to retire, you have to have a steady flow of income coming in so that you can live and meet your expenses. So that's what I have for you today. I would like to hear your comments and what you think and tips that you have. But the topic today was that God put on my heart is feast or famine. And just one more thing. When I hit my feasting season, I thought I arrived. This is it. I have made it. I got this thing now. Yes, I'm going to be making money the rest of my life. I didn't think there would be another famine. This is it. God, thank you. But no. So, all I'm saying is during your feasting season, when you're making that money and when things are coming in, you may receive an inheritance, you may receive a lawsuit, or something may happen. And now you have this abundance of money. Set it aside. Save your expenses so that you're covered. Okay? Love you guys. Something I had to learn from my mistake. Accept the fact that feast and famine guaranteed, both of them. Okay? Love you guys. Have a blessed day. It's Friday. Enjoy your weekend. I don't stop working. So Sunday, church day. And so I'm enjoying my weekend. And October, good month for me financially, but I'm still going to continue to work as if I have nothing. So love you guys. Take care. Talk to you soon.